Game 2, they've already sided, and we're going to be seeing Philip start off with a Tinyi Spirit Adhara. Adhara becomes our Tinyi Monk, and it looks like he went ahead and summoned Ecclesia, got a Moye, and revealed a Tai A, and now he's Long Young, and now he's specialing out the Long Young after getting impermed. So he makes the token anyway, and he gets to make his Synchro 8. Typically here you would, Shishao. You can see Shishao banish the trap card here. Oh, he's going to add the Monster Reborn actually. Normally you can see the trap card here because you can banish it off of him, and then the trap card will go ahead and make a token so he'd still get to his 10. But it looks, he's going for the Protoss lines. I don't know how I feel about Protoss in this matchup because they don't really actually need any specific attribute to play. Like, I guess wind is important, but he looks like he can't call it here, so I guess he's going to try to call fire to hit Kagari.
Yeah, that's interesting. And do you think that going for Kagari to turn off lines like with Kagari is better than, like just making his Baron de Fleur or his, I don't remember the name, but the Synchro 10 that non-target pops when he would be destroyed and stuff like that? Wouldn't those lines be a little better and stronger than Protoss since they're all over the place in attribute instead of one and being a generic lock?
That definitely could be a good point here. I guess it just kind of depends on what you're scared of because obviously they sideboard, so Philip might have some special things up his sleeve. Honestly, if I was in this situation, I might call Dark because one, that means that they can't use the DPE package, which is very important in this matchup just because it trades so well with some of our cards. Two, if that set card Philip has there is the trap card, when you go to pop a Sky Monster, they can't Ray back, and that's a pretty big deal. Also, it turns off Hornet drones, so they have to have Rose and stuff like that to extend. So
that makes sense. Do you like going for the dark line instead of making Baron or any of the other Synchro 10s that he could have been there, or do you just think that in this situation that he chose to go into, that if you did choose, you would just go into dark?
I think Protoss is completely fair and fine to go into here. Just because it's a bit harder for the Sky deck to remove, it's a bit more sticky. Obviously, they have to have Widow Anchor plus removal because it has a 3k body. Philip should have put it in defense mode in all fairness, but it's fine, I guess. But it does still, since he didn't call Dark, actually, it's not fine. He gets traded with by DPE now just by getting it swung over. But putting it in defense mode definitely would incorrect. And even with calling Fire, it'd still be fine. But, I think the Protoss line was definitely fine. I think he just could have potentially did a different route. But we'll see what Nick has here for follow-up on it. So, Prosperity, he's going to go 6 deep. Let's see what he reveals. Effect Veiler, Rose, Widow, Fusion Destiny, and Reinforcement of the Army, and Dark Ruler no more. Pretty powerful reveals, adding the Fusion Destiny here, because the Dark Ruler is not very powerful against
I feel like because he chose to add the Fusion Destiny over Dark Ruler, that's a guarantee that he didn't name Dark with his Protoss.
Because he called Fire because the Long Young got destroyed. And now here comes the Rose, and it looks like he Cosmic popped the trap card. And see, this is what I was talking about. This is going to be a very big issue for Philip now. He's going to be on the back foot against this Enforcer because now he's just going to be able to run over the Protoss at this point. And this honestly might be the match because he gets to run over Protoss. And yeah, it's kind of just it's such an uphill fight. He looks like he only has one card in his hand as well. He's going to be able to clear most of his field. So
yeah, that's a problem I feel like with this matchup is that Sky Strikers just has an inevitable engine as long as it gets going, and if you can't close out the game immediately with this Swordsoul Tinny package,
you can definitely get put behind by it. Yeah. And see, I think that Protoss call there was pretty incorrect because if he had called Dark, he wouldn't be losing half his field right now. And that's just kind of realistic because the rest of those reveals were Widow Anchor and stuff like that. And it's the Widow Anchor couldn't steal. Dark Ruler's not doing anything. Nick would just have his Sky Pack, and don't run. The Sky Package is definitely fine, but it's not actively applying this amount of pressure that it is right now. So it looks like Nick used DPE's effect to try to pop Protoss, but wasn't tracking that Protoss' destruction immune.
Yeah, so definitely a big deal, but luckily DPE is
pretty free.
It's pretty free. Even if you make mistakes like that, it can still keep coming back over and over and over again and ensuring that you do the thing. However, the lucky part is that Protoss does trigger every main phase, so he does have a chance to name Dark, but unfortunately in response he can...
So, honestly, actually, starting here on his turn, he summoned the Ecclesia, which was incorrect. He could have just started off by calling Protoss Dark, because Nick didn't go any standby phase, use DPE effect to clear up his monster zones, so he can't chain the Widow Anchor. So that means the Dark will resolve even if DP kills itself, and that means DP doesn't come back next turn. And if he kills the Shizuku, the Ray doesn't come back next turn. So this was another big punt here done by Philip. He could have probably climbed back into the game at that point at least, because he's at least taking him off the engines. Because Nick would be forced to stop the Protoss from running over the Shizuku, so he wouldn't lose his engine.
That makes sense.
So, alright, we're seeing another Mo Yi off the Ecclesia. And he's using the token that he got from his trap card being banished off a Cosmic last turn. And he's going for Berserker of the 10 Ys. That is a very interesting line. I'm honestly surprised he didn't just go for, like, Boxia instead.
In order to try to bait the pop and shuffle back some cards.
Yep.
And get rid of to see what type of interactions that he has.
Because we know there's a set Widow Anchor at this point, and his opponent won't be able to chain them as long as DP is there. And if he DP's effects in response to Boxia, that's fine, because the Boxia is still going to resolve. And then you still have to, deal with the Protoss. So
Does Boxia target?
Boxia does target, but the benefit is he can snipe both of the back rows. DPE could attempt to tag out if it wanted to, and even if it doesn't, both the back rows are getting spent, and one's getting banished because it got set by the multi-roll. And then he could just Protoss call Dark. And honestly, like, Nick doesn't look like I think Nick only has no cards in his hand, actually. So that would be a good enough line here to get him, like, Philip back into the game and pushing forward. But unfortunately, he's making some pretty big players. But I guess he's going for the 10-y Berserker here because he's going to be able to banish DP so it gets rid of the engine. But he still gets the pop, and that's the problem. Yep, he's going to trade across. The last set was a Twin Twister. Yep, if he had won with those other lines previously, he would have been a lot better off, considering the only disruption would have been a Widow Anchor. And so, yeah. We're going to go ahead and get Raise Effect. Tagging out into Shizuku and getting a Search Training in face. I don't think Philip even used his Protoss effect.
Oh, maybe he's not tracking that you're able to activate it every main phase and just missed that. And maybe that's why he went for the Ecclesia line and didn't realize that he could have kept doing that. It's very possible.
Because he definitely knows it can't be destroyed by card effect, which is that's another reason why he could just call Dark, because it can't be destroyed. But that's definitely interesting. But we're gonna see Nick go ahead and start snowballing using Kagari, activating Engage again, just getting all this extra advantage. I'm not seeing a way he's gonna come back from this. All these additional draws. I think he's gotten 3 Engage draws this game so far, and he's gonna be stealing the Protoss there.
Yeah, it's just an uphill battle once they start chaining the engage into engage into engage.
Yep.
Especially when you're in a simplified game state with like one monster in play and you're not overburdening them. That's when they just run away with the game because you just can't come back from a search then draw every turn, and sometimes 2 times a turn. We're
gonna see a shooter here, but yeah, every small misplay in this matchup does matter. Like, you need to make sure you're managing your resources right and making sure that this deck doesn't get a foot ahead of you. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see Vishuda become a monk. And we're going to see Vishuda bounce back and be Link 2, which is going to cause Ray
to come back.
Yep, and we're going to Long Young discard to make a token.
He's probably going to chain a Widow Anchor in response, probably to just end the game. Or
he's got to tag out first.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yep, Shark Cannon to steal or banish? Oh, we're going for banish. And we're going to Widow Anchor. It looks like we're going to Widow Anchor steal the Long Young, so he has nothing to go into. He can't use Link monsters because the token is out currently. And Philip might have put the token in defense mode. We can't really tell by the dice, but oh well. So yeah, we're going to add back another Engage here. And yeah, Philip's going to have to pass turn there. And during the end phase, he's going to get another Shark Cannon. Yeah, no, we're just seeing Sky Striker really just take over this game from here. Very commanding position, obviously, even without the DP any more active in the game. He's going to get a, 5th Engage draw?
Yeah, I think it's his 5th Engage draw, getting an Afterburners for a pop.
Clearing the monster. And we're going to go ahead and see him Widow Anchor steal.
When they're just throwing away Widow Anchors like this is when you know that it's game, because they're just wasting resources like that, and that's going to be the game.
Yeah, that's the match. Well, good game. More props to our champion here, Nicholas Pretzel. And yeah, please join us next week for some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Gameplay commentary.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good pleasure to have all you guys.